Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 Build a Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. It's part 112 today and we start a big set of fixtures. Firstly, in the SPFL Trust Trophy, we've got Northern Irish opposition again. A Linfield side we've had some cracking close games against, and we go away to Windsor Park to face them. And then just 4 days later, it is the big one. It is a chance for us to break our one-season record in terms of Welsh coefficient growth. We had a little bit of support from other teams in the qualifiers. And if we can get any form of result at home or away to RB Leipzig, we are in a perfect position to improve Welsh football yet further. The home leg is first, and that will be the second of today's episode. And depending on the result, we might be back for the away leg next time. So if you're looking forward to all of that and you are enjoying the series, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. We've got a little bit of mixed transfer news to reflect on over the January window, which is now shut. And of course, over the next few weeks, we'll be lining up ready for our next youth intake, which will hopefully give us at least one gem, despite the poor crop generally. A quick service announcement, say the Euro 2020 content continues. Live watch-alongs over on Twitch, you can see the link in the description. And of course, score predictions over here the night before every match day. But let's go and have a look at what's been happening off camera with Bangor City. And we'll start with the schedule, which is looking pretty tasty. And generally, when we don't have the European football in the middle of the season, it is when we rack up our spell of wins. Because we haven't really got much competition in the rest of it. We are hoping that TNS will get past next season, get through that playoff and get into Europe, because if they reach the group stages, it changes everything. And Barrytown United are looking stronger again this year as well. Josh Thomas, up to last weekend, was the top scorer in the league, above any of our strikers. So you were with me, of course, for Bala and Larne at the start of January. Since then, 7 games, 7 victories. Only 1 goal conceded. Firstly, a 3-0 win away at Airbus UK. Duffy, Loza and Jones for the largely backup team. Our home to Cardiff Met Uni, a 6-0 victory. 1 for Dan Wells, 2 for Matty Whittaker, and a hat-trick for wonder kid Ewan McKinnon. Against Aberystwyth in the League Cup final, we got the first trophy of the season. Broome with 1, Walters 2, and Tom Jones capping it off. A 4-0 win against feeder club Athen Lido in the Welsh Cup 4th round. All 4 of them remarkably scored by Loza, 2 of them from the penalty spot as well. An 8-1 win away at Llandudno on the final day of January. A McKinnon hat-trick, a Walters hat-trick and Jones and Furlong with 1 each. Then 3-0 wins to start February. Firstly against Barrytown United, 2 for Tom Jones, 1 for Kane Walters. And in the same result away at Colwyn Bay, Duffy, Jones and Pasiarek, as we rotated ahead of these 2 big games. So everything on the pitch is going absolutely perfectly. Off it, the same cannot be said. Stefan Banks is joining TNS permanently, which I think is a really good thing. He's a decent young player through our academy, but has agreed to join another Welsh team at the end of his contract, so that's got to be a positive sign. However, the rest of the window doesn't look quite so great, mainly because one of our star loan players, Dan Wells, has been recalled. We said he was the one we thought would be because they've been complaining about the positions, the roles and everything in terms of where we played him, and even for not playing enough league games when we were playing in the Champions League. So he's gone back to Sheffield United. He was wonderful for us. Only 1 league goal, which shouldn't really been reflected on, because in Europe he got 6 goals in 12. In the Cups he got 2 goals in 7. But in the Champions League he produced his best performances on the biggest stage. And that is the sign of a remarkable player. So hopefully our paths will cross again one day in the future. But for now, Dan Wells back at Sheffield United. Don't think he went anywhere else, did he? No. And he's played a game for them now. Scored a Premier League goal on his debut off the bench. What more can you ask from him? So we lose one of our star players from the first half of the season. We've also sold or loaned out a lot of our backup and reserve teams. So Peter Holding signed his new contract. He's now gone on loan to Huddersfield. He's playing first team football in the Championship and the FA Cup. He's picked up a little knock now. But that's something that just can't be replaced. We can't replicate that week in, week out. So it'd be great for him, after playing for Dundalk in the Champions League, winning the Irish Premier Division, to be able to come and play good football at a good level in England. I think that's going to benefit him hugely. As well as that, Martin Sinclair has now left for Morecambe on a free agent deal. Playing League 2 football this season, he had been playing for Newport County prior, and he's going to be involved there despite being on the loan list straight away. Warren Bell, one of our youngsters, has gone to TNS on loan, again trying to strengthen one of our other sides. If we can extend that loan into next year, just gives them a slightly stronger squad again. Did make a few appearances for us off the bench, played for Colwyn Bay a couple of years ago, and we know he's got what it takes at this level. Jason Williams, another one of the youngsters, this time the striker has gone to Aberystwyth. 1 start, 5 sub-appearances, 4 goals. 2 of those are in 2 appearances for Aberystwyth, and the other ones, of course, came for us. And then finally, we got an offer on deadline day from Nottingham Forest for our third choice keeper, Josh Pugh. I had planned for him to overtake Ratcliffe, so we'll have to look in the summer as Ratcliffe's contract expires. But for Josh Pugh, it's a chance to earn £1.50 a week, and he wasn't really involved with us, so even £2.50 is a good benefit. The big news of the window, though, and the biggest positive, if you excuse the keyboard, is Keegan Riley. Now, how many times have I said in one of these series, it is crucial you have a 50% sell-on clause worked into any deal. Now, the reason we say that is because when players come here, they have a good season in the Championship and they're suddenly worth £3 million, you get a 50% sell-on clause pop up occasionally, as we did in mid-January for Keegan Riley, for £1.9 million. So even if we were struggling and had a bad year in Europe, that would completely recover it. That's, to put it into perspective, almost what we get for being in the Europa League group stages. That's almost what we get for winning a Champions League game. And we get that just for getting a clause in Keegan Riley's contract. So I was very happy with that, a very pleasant surprise. And as a result, the transfer budget has crept up again. The finances have taken a little creep up in January, as you can see there. And in fact, they went up by £2.5 million, and most of that was Keegan Riley. So it has both played and played a crucial role for us. And we would like to say, make sure you get those clauses in. It makes a massive, massive difference in these builder nations and one club stories. But for us, it's all about the 2 big games today. We are 1 player shorter. It means Jones and Bulkley, the youngsters, can get football at the top level yet again. So let's look at the 11 they've gone for today, and we'll make the changes we need to. This is going to be a big one. And here we go. The only slight negative really to come out of January off the pitch again is that a lot of players we got offers for are now unhappy at the moment. It will pass eventually, but you can see Malone on the bench. We've also got Broom, Jones, Wickens at the minute too. It's normally Harvey Lloyd, but he didn't get one this month. But the rest of them all complaining about the fact that we rejected transfers. For Tom Jones in particular, he is going nowhere. He's one of our homegrown wonder kids. But in terms of our 11 today, the only change from our usual lineup is that Scott McKenzie has finally worked his way in above Price. He's improving all the time. He's doing really well for us. And I just felt I couldn't hold him back any longer. John Price will be on the bench. He'll still be a solid pro. He's out of contract at the end of next season and has rejected the first offer we gave. And although he's been really solid for us and he can play in holding midfield as well, maybe even a backup there next year, I don't feel at the moment that he can compete with McKenzie. So the lineup as a result is Wickens in goal, McDonald and Weaver the fullbacks with McKenzie and Whittaker at centre half, Harvey Lloyd, Chris Broom, Scott Furlong and Tom Jones the midfield diamond. How long will it be before Bulkley gets in? We'll wait and see. But Jones has been in flying form despite his unhappiness. McKinnon and Walters combine up front, 65 goals between them now. And on the bench, ironically, the 2 backup strikers, exactly the same. Between the 4 of them, get this right, between the 4 of them in mid-February, 130 goals this season. If we can improve on that today, we'll have a place in another final. Off to Northern Ireland we go, Windsor Park to face Linfield. Well, 10 changes from the last match, just George Wickens in goal keeping his place, and lots of familiar names in that Linfield team. We've talked about Brennan before, a player we've tried to sign in the past. Luke Southwood's a good keeper. Aspinall up front, everything but pace he's got in his game. So this is going to be a difficult test. We saw against Larne, albeit we won, we didn't look convincing. And Linfield, I'd argue on paper, perhaps slightly stronger. So let's get into the first half and see what it produces. But we've got to keep our run going in this competition. We're on course to win it for, I think, the 3rd time in succession. It'd be a real good sign for us in terms of UK performance that we can compete with the SPL or the Scottish Championship, that we can compete with the Northern Irish Prem. And that's what we want to do moving forward. We're 20 minutes gone. It's been a very quiet game. We're back for Linfield, taking a free kick in their own half as Alazy plays a 1-2 with his centre-half partner. Over to Aspinall, completely unmarked. He's dragged his shot wide. I just presume the offside flag would go up eventually. It was a brilliant through ball and there was no one in sight defensively. But Aspinall, so often reliable in front of goal, puts one well wide at a post and we get away with one there. Only been 1 shot on target in the first half an hour as Linfield are back trying to switch the play again. Although we've just been given a massive, massive favour. Paul Collins sent off. It looked a fairly innocuous challenge with Kai McDonald. Maybe in a jump, just a slight push, but not a yellow surely. And now we're up against 10 as Harvey Lloyd puts the free kick in. Kamara heads away as far as McKinnon. He holds it up and goes back inside to Furlong. He finds Weaver, who is still back from the set piece, covering the centre-half position. Furlong gets it again, no through ball to Ewan McKinnon. And he just nicks in ahead of the keeper. One touch to take it round him. And then rolls it into the empty net. 1-0 Bangor City after 39 minutes. But without that red card, I'm not sure we'd be ahead in this game. And we still might not be at half-time as it's a free kick for Linfield. Whittaker heads it long away. Walters will chase. Oh, that's brilliant pace. He gets there. He anticipates it. Beats the defender to it. Goes running all alone. And then the composure to slide it in the far corner. Kane Walters at his very, very best. And these two strikers. Does anyone even remember we used to have a Greg Pringle? Because I certainly don't. Anyone remember Luke Williams? Not me. These are the two. McKinnon and Walters superstars again. It's 2-0 Bangor City at half-time. And the referee has won us this football match. Well, we're approaching the hour mark. Tom Jones, the number 10, been really good recently, but had an awful game today, according to the match rating. As McDonald gives it to Furlong. We will think about subs in a minute, the likes of Bulkley, and maybe just resting a couple for Thursday as well, as it's into Tom Jones, and right on cue. He runs onto the end of a McDonald through ball and slides it in the corner of the net. Forget I said anything, Tom Jones is a superstar. Bangor City lead 3-0, and the Welsh youngster is at it again. And we've got a free kick with Harvey Lloyd, 35 yards out into Tom Jones. Edge just wide. He heard me, didn't he? Let's go and make some changes. I mean, Weaver's had the worst game of anyone, but do I have to protect people? I don't think we do for the first leg. I mean, the league game in between the two RB Leipzig matches will rest everyone anyway. So let's take Weaver off for Morgan. We've got to find a way to bring Bulkley on. He's going to replace... I was going to do Jones before, but now... Do I still do Jones, or do I replace Broom, or do I replace Furlong? Let's go for Furlong. He's had the worst game of the two. And then Pasiarek is going to come on for Whittaker, because he's the defender who never gets the rest. We always take off, say, Price for Pasiarek, or Morgan comes on for one of the fullbacks. But Whittaker's the ever-present. He was 1 yellow from a suspension as well. But the goal threat has completely dried up for Linfield since the red card, and this second half has been plain sailing. 3-0, it looks like it's going to finish for Bangor City. The perfect start results-wise to the episode, but the referee did us a massive favour. It looked a bit harsh on Paul Collins, but it gets us the 3-0 win. We take our place in the final. We'll find out who we'll be facing. We'll be back in a moment to face RB Leipzig in a massive Europa League tie. Well, colour me surprised. This might be a sign. Forget what's happening in the league and the way they fell away. This might be a sign this season that TNS are catching up. They have reached the final. Welsh football is dominating the SPFL Trust Trophy. Now, I know we face both of the Northern Irish sides that might have put TNS out in other circumstances, but they did reach the playoff and narrowly went out to AZ Alkmaar in Europe as well. So they are making progress. The only slight issue is that they're not able to compete over a season. But they've beaten Dunfermline on penalties. They've beaten Livingston. These are good Scottish sides. Maybe they got slightly luckier with Elgin City, but they beat Waterford as well. They've competed against really good sides and they've managed to get results. So that's a positive. We're going to be back for Leipzig in a moment, but in a very brief interim, let me show you the transfer window for Welsh football. Because it was a fairly quiet one, in truth. It's not what we're used to seeing, particularly towards the end of the window. Not a huge amount on deadline day. A couple of other clubs going big. Swansea Met Uni trying to get loads of players in to save them. And actually, Bala were probably the ones who made the best moves. Ashley Garner came in for them as striker. And outside of us and Josh Thomas at Barry, he might be the best in the league. He's got great finishing composure and he's relatively quick too. So I think for Bala, he's probably going to fire them to glory. You can see 4 goals in 3 games. Had been playing for Bradford City and filed. So Bradford, he was playing fairly regularly in League One. And he's now coming to join Bala Town. So that suggests that there are big moves in Welsh football. I really think we're on the cusp now. But let's see what happens in the summer. We'll be back in a moment to face RB Leipzig. And hopefully we can take Welsh football yet another step further. Well, back for Thursday night, we have a first player that's ended his unhappiness, which is Patrick Malone. We've got a fitness test which suggests Burrows is fit, but in truth, he probably won't be in the squad today. And we're looking forward to a game against RB Leipzig. Now, to put it into a bit of perspective for our past meetings, it was one of our first famous European nights, and we are unbeaten against them in 2 meetings. We drew 0-0 at home to them in the Europa League. That was 2 years ago, or just under 2 years ago, I should say, the season before last. and away from home we got a famous 3-2 win. So if we can replicate any of that this time, we'll be very happy, because one win on the night and the Welsh coefficient breaks a record. So let's have a look at the 11. It should be the same team that played last time. I know Tom Jones is a little tired. I know we'd love to have Dan Wells available, but unfortunately we're not quite there. So it's going to be the same 11. It's going to be exactly the same 18. And this time we are underdogs, but it is absolutely massive. Let's see if we can shock RB Leipzig, or at least get a lead into the second leg. Well, actually, compared to last time, not so many familiar names in the team. Not in the starting 11 anyway. Kipre and Wage in defence are two that we're used to seeing. And on the bench, they've got Joachim Andersen, Kamil Joswiak and Ismail Assar. So some wonderful pros. But it's interesting to see where their squad's gone. I don't know how good those players are, whether they're real regens or not. So most of them are. Let's have a look at Sigurdsson, because he's a real Icelandic player and he's a very good one. So he's going to be a tough threat. Terrell Stewart is an Englishman worth 30 million. Oh, he's world class. Okay, they might have actually improved their squad. Benecki's a young German who's a model citizen. At the back, they've got an experienced Belgian. He's been there for 10 years and must have played against us last time. They've got another wonder kid from Germany at right back. They've got a brilliant, experienced Russian goalkeeper, currently at Krasnodar in real life. But outside the squad, yeah, a few of them have just dropped out. Maitland-Niles now 34, Madison 35. They were both in there before, as was Nkunku. So they are slightly weaker than they were previously in terms of depth. And maybe less experience will help them, because we overran them last time. So I'm a bit worried we're not going to be able to do that against a much younger opposition. But let's just see how we get on. We're going to try and take the game to RB Leipzig. They've matched us up with a diamond, which is a massive compliment to us. And we've got the early shots in. So no highlights, but things are looking good. Let's see if we can really take advantage here. I'd love to just go and shock the world. And with a quarter of the game gone, the first highlight we're seeing is a Leipzig corner. It's rattled the crossbar from the head up. Furlong clears it away. But after all the dominance in terms of the stats, 8 shots, 4 on target, 60% possession, we haven't seen anything that suggests a threat, as Walters cuts it back to Harvey Lloyd, to Broom 25 yards out, to Kai McDonald. It's good football, but we're forced backwards and McDonald concedes possession. Does well to win it back straight away though. Broom releases Tom Jones to Weaver. Through ball to Walters, I think he's offside. Oh, it's not given. I was so sure he looked off there. But Kane Walters with his 50th of the season. We talked about it ever since he's been here. The only time he's not consistently performed is in the big games in Europe. But Kane Walters turns up with the opener against RB Leipzig. And I'm starting to feel very excited. We have battered them. And the fact that it's only 1-0 is the concern for me. Let's see if we can get a second before the break, because we've deserved it. As Kane Walters gets the ball in the centre of the pitch to Broom, switches wide to McDonald, who's got acres of space to run into. There's 3 getting up in the box, a 4th in Furlong supporting. McDonald beats his fullback, back to Furlong! Just over the bar with a shot. Oh, he could have taken a touch, he could have been composed. But he just sort of snatched at it. It's been a dominant display though, a wonderful performance. And it's not the fact we're winning this game. We are dominating against RB Leipzig. And I just want us to take advantage ahead of the second leg as McKinnon gets it from McDonald. He plays a 1-2 with him. Gets to the byline. Can he cross? Back to Broom. Into the back post. Weaver's there. First shot's blocked on the volley. Gets another chance to cross it. Cuts back to Broom. On the half volley himself. And he's miles over. He's blazed it over the bar. But what a performance this has been. 20 shots in 50 minutes. Stewart with a free kicking note. It won't mean anything if Leipzig equalise. McKenzie heads away. McKinnon can counter. The wonder kid is in a 2-on-2. Walters is with him. McKinnon lays it through. Walters 1-on-1. Rounds the keeper and scores. Go on, Kane Walters. If he hadn't arrived on the big stage before, he has certainly arrived now. It is 2 goals for Kane Walters. 2 goals for Bangor City. And 2-0 against RB Leipzig. What a dominant display. Wage's playing out from the left-hand side. Now it becomes crucial we don't give away an away goal and continue to dominate as Tom Jones nicks it high up the pitch. McKinnon's in the middle. Walters is in there. McKinnon gets there. We're in dreamland. I did not expect this. What on earth is happening? We lost one of our star players in January, but Tom Jones has come to the party with an assist there. It's 3-0 Bangor City, and I don't know how it's happened. What a perfect performance. And with 15 minutes to go, I'm going to make a couple of changes. Harvey Lloyd's on a yellow and not had the best game, and that's the benefit of Price being on the bench. He can just step in and cover there adequately. Furlong looks absolutely shattered. I'm going to give Patrick Malone a run out for him. Broom will switch to the left side where he played most of last season. And we'll leave the last sub 5 more minutes because so far, this is the best display of the series. It's not the fact like Galatasaray we were battering them in a big game. This is such a crucial and pivotal moment in this series. And to turn up and do this to RB Leipzig's incredible. But we can't afford to concede. We've kept them so quiet in this match and we have to continue to do so. Sigurdsson's got in though. Great save, George Wickens. They are battling for this clean sheet. It probably deserves to be more than 3 on the balance of play. I've never seen such an elite level display from us. But we've got to cling on now. An away goal and Leipzig are almost level favourites for this game again. We've got to keep the 0 on that side of things. And 14 shots to 2 on target. We've deserved it too. Broom is going to be replaced by Bulkley just for the last couple of minutes. He's shattered. And we've just got to try and cling on. Because this is just about the best night in my career so far. And in stoppage time, we've got an attacking throw again. McDonald plays a 1-2 with Patrick Malone. Back to the edge to Price, to Bulkley. Chance to shoot for the wonder kick. Goes wide to McDonald. Cuts it back to Malone. Really good game management. Lovely football as well. McDonald in. Headed away by the experienced defender. McDonald in for the second time. Tom Jones at the front post. Glances it in for 4-0 in the last minute of the game. And surely that's tie over. Even for Bangor City against RB Leipzig. 4-0 has to be job done. I have never witnessed a performance like that in the knockout stages of Europe. Maybe this is our time. Maybe this is Welsh football's time. An all-Welsh final in the SPFL Trust Trophy. TNS a whisker away from the Europa Conference group stages. And Barry Town United making a comeback with some of our former players. A dominant display. The best of the series by far. And we don't even need to worry about the second leg now, as we should be comfortably through. So we're going to be back, presuming there's no horror show, for the second knockout round of the Europa League. If you did enjoy those 2 wonderful displays, please do put a thumbs up on it. Ironically, until the red card, Linfield gave us a much better game than Leipzig. But what a performance. We saved it for the big occasion. And I am so proud of our team there. If you want to stay up to date with the rest of the season and see how long this European run can go on, please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. We've got Euros watch-alongs regularly on Twitch too. Please do give us a follow. The link's in the description. And you can catch up with all the Euros-based playlists and the food channel in the eye above. And a massive thank you for your incredible support. But I'll see you next time for Europa League last 16 action, I hope. Surely we can't miss out on that. And we'll look forward to what I hope is another world-class display, because that was absolutely spectacular. I'll see you next time.